here at the Free Word Center, and we're at a book signing that we teamed up with Kobo Writing Life to do. And this all started out last year at BEA, which is the Book Expo of America in the United States. I was talking with the Kobo Writing Life team, and we talked about how indie authors are doing book signings and how we're teaming up. We're doing them all together. We're getting lots of readers, lots of authors, and how the turnouts have been great. And we decided to do something like that here in London in conjunction with the London Book Fair. And so a year later, we're here. We've got 13 authors. All of us have books for sale, ebooks on Kobo Writing Life, and it's been a great experience.
What did I learn working on the board with international thriller writers? Well, quite a few things, actually. How to get along with other authors in a good way, a lot of cooperation, collaboration. We had a lot of opportunity to deal with readers, which was great. The first big project we did was an anthology of stories. And we went to a big conference like the one we had this week here in London and signed those books, and people stood in line out the door for them, so it was so much fun. So we had such a good time. We had we did a lot of conferences, we met a lot of readers, and it was a real learning experience and a really fun time for all of us, I think. I write mystery, thriller, and suspense stories. My books always have a mystery. It's always a who done it, why done it, how done it. And my favorite comment from readers is, boy, I didn't see that ending coming. I love it when that happens. My second favorite thing is, that book kept me up all night. And so that's what I go for. I'm looking for a happy reading experience. I want readers to be interested and to have fun. If they can learn something from my stories, I like that too. That works out really well. Some people like that. Some people don't want to have to work so hard. But it's been really fun for me. I write mostly books set in Florida, which is where I live now. But I do have the Hunt for Jack Reacher series, which is a spin-off of the Jack Reacher novels written by my friend Lee Child. The Hunt for Reacher's books, my characters travel around a lot more because they're looking for Reacher, and we all know he gets around. So they have to go where he's been and see if they can find anybody who's willing to talk about him. They're building a file for a secret purpose because Reacher is being considered for a special assignment. They don't know what the assignment is, but they've been told to find out whether he's fit for it or not, both psychologically, financially, personality-wise. They want to know, if we send him out in the field, is he going to be okay, or is he going to be wild and uncontrollable? I think we already know what the answer to that is, right? So my characters are FBI agents Kim Otto and Carlos Gaspar, and they've been on the hunt for Reacher for 5 books now. People ask me all the time, are they going to find him, and when are they going to find Jack Reacher? And of course the answer is they'll find him when and if he wants to be found.
People ask me all the time about coming from a large family. I'm the youngest of 11 children. And I've brought my sister into writing, I brought my niece into writing, and each time I gave them a list of about 60 things that I thought that they should do to start off their career. And when they brought me back those 60 things, I knew they were very serious about it. And one of them was starting a newsletter, even if there's no one signed up for a newsletter, just to have a newsletter. Another one was to have a Facebook page, to have a website, to show me that they were really serious what they were doing. The other was to bring me a finished book. So as soon as my sister brought me a book, I tell them it's not exactly can you write a book, it's how hard are you willing to work to write a really good book, because the first book that you write is probably not your best book. But nowadays, if you can find a good editor, you can find somebody who can really guide you towards writing, you can work on your craft even as you write out your first book. So if you didn't write the first book that would change the world, don't give up on that story. If it's a story that touched you, then you can move forward with it with an editor.
I remember my daughter. That was really the change for me. She was in middle school, and she wrote a book, like a 50,000-word book in middle school. And I was like, all right, there's something wrong with this. Okay, if she's going to write this book, then I am going to go back to what I wanted to do, and I'm going to write. But I never thought it would be a career. I just thought I'm going to do it just to say I did it. And so I did. I went through and I wrote a book, and it took me a year to write The Billionaire Wins the Game, my very first book. And I was in my living room and I was typing away, and all of a sudden the book ended. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just finished the book. It was amazing. It was awesome. And so I finished that, and then I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. And this was in 2010 when self-publishing was just kind of getting started, and it was really kind of frowned upon at that point. If you were self-published, then you were not good enough to be traditionally published. And so all I knew for romance was Harlequin. Everybody, that was my mom's books that I used to steal. I mean, it was Harlequin. I didn't even know other publishers did romance. And so I submitted to them. I thought, okay, I didn't know what an editor was. I didn't know cover artist. I didn't know anything. And so I submitted to them. Well, as most people know, I'm not a patient person. And then I discovered self-publishing. And so I contacted the Harlequin office. I said, hey, if I self-publish this, can I still have a chance of being traditionally published? And they said, well, yes, you can, but we really don't like it. And I said, nah, what do I have to lose? And so that's when I discovered the world of self-publishing. I'm really lucky with my self-publishing because I got in before this tidal wave of self-publishing phenomenal, stuff came in. And I don't think my books were a masterpiece. As a matter of fact, they were pretty terrible at that point because, again, I didn't know editors. But I don't care how brilliant you are. I don't care if you're a PhD. You can't edit your own book. It's impossible. And so people were buying these books, and I had no clue why or how or what was going on. So I meet Ruth Cardello, and she tells me to make the book free. And I argued with her back and forth. And Ruth is like, you will make this book free. I'm like, okay, I'll make it free. And that changed my life. Because then a whole bunch of authors got to discover, or a whole bunch of readers, got to discover who I am. And then they just bought the next book and the next book, and then they demanded. It wasn't like, when's the next book coming out? It was like, you will get the next book out. And so then the 7-book series turns into 12 books, and it just kept going. And then I had the bug. And once I had the bug, it was all over, and I couldn't stop. And now I can't stop. I mean, even here, I'm in London, this amazing place, and at night I'm getting at least a couple hours in because I can't stand to not do my job now because my job is amazing.